fine. This isn't on anything particular on the agenda, so why don't you come on up, Mr. Carston, and say your name for the record into the microphone, and there's 3 minutes.
Hi, good evening. My name is Tom Costin. Been 13-year resident here. I have 2 children in the district. I'm here tonight to talk about something that came up on Facebook that has to do with this board, and I was really quite disturbed, quite embarrassed, and I just thought I would bring it to attention here. There's a lot in this Facebook group I'm going to talk about, but I'm not going to go into the specifics of it. I do have a copy of it that I'd like to give to you guys for the record, and I also have just a statement to read. Yeah. So I'm here tonight to convey how disappointed I am to read Mr. Porter's unfortunate remarks on a community Facebook page. What started as a simple question about a parasite affecting the local vegetation quickly turned into an inappropriate rant against the teachers union and members of the community. Mr. Porter made the following statement. This is just one of the statements, and I'm not going to go into all of them. Horrific parasite like our national or state teachers union, and went on to comment about leftist lobbyists and unions and qualified congressional representatives. You know, everyone's allowed their opinion regardless of how they lean politically or feel about unions. But we all have the right to voice our opinion. Public officials have a duty to voice their opinion in a responsible manner. A manner that doesn't damage the organization they represent and prevent them from being a successful governing body. I don't believe Mr. Porter's rant meets the standards of our local school district or the standards we should hold our school board of trustees to. This type of loose speak can be very damaging to our district, and what's bad for the district is bad for the students. One of the board's many duties is to approve teacher salaries and benefits. So how does insulting the teachers unit benefit any negotiations that may take place? The relationship of the board, staff, teachers, unions needs to be one of mutual respect, not disdain. You know, low attendance, no secret that our district student count is teetering on barely viable. We can't afford to lose any students. There are a lot of district parents here that are homeschooling, sending their children to private schools, sending them charters out of the district. They're doing this because they don't have faith the district can meet their children's need. And this type of inappropriate rhetoric coming from the board member doesn't instill faith in our schools. Our schools are full of exceptional volunteers, staff, and students, and I believe they deserve better. And Mr. Porter's remarks apply to everybody on this community, and I think you, as the Board of Governors, I think you should address that as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Did you give us copies, Mr.
yeah, I did.
President?
And let me give you the.
Thank you, Mr. Dawson. All right, we're moved on to 8.0 AATA representative. I don't see AATA. Okay. CSEA representative? Do you have any report? Okay. Present, no report. Thank you. 8.03 student representatives.
Alrighty. So first, you guys each have a little present bag in front of you. It's just something kind of fun. Just think of it as a stress relief. Open them whenever you want to.
It's not going to pop out at you.
No.
That's serious.
It's fun.
I love the smell and I love to play with it.
Would you be offended if I gave mine to Mr. Costad?
But yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
You'll have to explain that later.
I will.
Okay. So going from there, I'll jump right in. At Metalark, and I'm sorry if I say his name wrong, Ms. Palcios and Ms. Chun personally received their requested grant items as special deliveries from Mr. King himself. Ms. Toledo received an education award of $500 from the Active Women's Club. At High Desert, Athletics just completed a successful year with Silver League. Track and field had 3 meets, with their last being yesterday. They have several boys and girls placed in top 3 in their heat and overall. Friday was the annual talent show. Students and staff showed off their talents through dancing, singing, performing arts, and comic skits. Sunday night, the Harmonic Bronze had their end-of-the-year concert with a puzzle theme. Students were also given certificates, and each handball group member received either a backpack, medal, or pin, and seniors were given a Build-A-Bear, which I was very happy about. At Vasquez, we have graduation next week on Wednesday. Ooh, and quote by Mr. Andrews, does anything else really matter? The answer's no, just kidding. We had Night of the Stars last Thursday. To name a few, freshman Amanda Ames won numerous awards for multiple subjects, along with Isaiah Calvin, Melina Mazzone, winning Athlete of the Year, and also our 2019 valedictorian is Austin Pender, and our salutatorian is Nicole Seachy. Powder Puff is tomorrow, where freshmen and seniors will go head-to-head against the juniors and sophomores, not seniors. Aaron Hoffman, Bella Kunis, and Hunter Weir received scholarships through CCAP, which is Careers Through Culinary Arts program. And also, the yearbooks turned out great. They're out, all the seniors loved them, and I kind of wanted to explain them to you all and how it relates to Acton. So, I don't know if you guys have seen it yet. I left mine at the school to be signed by the seniors, but it's white with red and gold. So basically the red on it, it has mountains. Sorry, probably none of you can see this, but the red has
I
mountains.
can see it, it's right there.
Okay, perfect. The red is basically the mountains of Acton, which represent the Crown Valley, because we're surrounded by a crown. The theme is called Beyond All Limits, because it's saying students go beyond the limits of the mountains, beyond the limits of like the Crown Valley. And then the gold, which is representing Acton sunsets coming from the mountain, is also gold, which is one of our school colors. So that's how the theme was kind of implemented throughout the book. Other than that, I'd personally like to thank the board for this amazing opportunity all year. I was so honored to represent all of our district schools, all the while connecting with both students and faculty. I'm so grateful for all your support throughout my senior year of high school, along with all the hard work you put into all the students. Our students wouldn't be as successful without you all and your support. I can't wait to come back and visit to see how our schools have grown, because I know each and every year we progress further and further into becoming into the best school we can be. Once again, thank you all for everything.
Very nice, Alyssa, thank you. Okay. Item 8.04, any construction reports, Superintendent King?
Just a couple comments on construction. So on the, for Acton School, we've been talking about TDM architects have been waiting the back checker plans. We're still waiting on those. We spoke to John Tegmeyer recently, and he said it's about a 2 to 3 week waiting period. As soon as we get that and that comes favorable for the district, they would then lift the stop work notice, and we'd be able to proceed with any work at Acton School, including but not limited to the fencing. Phase 3 of VHS, just a couple corrections remain. Exterior finish coat on the concessions building and exterior door locking systems. And there's payouts that are remaining still to our contractors. So that's it for construction, unless there's questions.
Okay. All right. 8.5, Superintendent Safety Report.
A little bit of a repeat, but just to remind the board, our students are filming their final shots for the Alice training video this week. Mr. Andrews is registered for the Safe School Conference in July. And the Antelope Valley Emergency Planning Group has plans to meet over the break to continue their work on a regional emergency response plan. And that's concluding the safety report.
And 8.6, Superintendent's Report.
Okay, so a few things here. First, as you recall, Ms. Jensen did volunteer with little time. She has to be on the strategic planning committee. I know you're not gonna be able to be there the whole time for
Not the whole
both
day,
days.
but I'm arranging my schedule so I can try to make at least half the day.
Okay, and is there any other board member that wanted to partake in it?
Is it during business hours?
It is, and if you can't, it's fine. It's just, you know, just asking, so I don't want the board to feel like they're being left out. So, okay, so if you have any other thoughts or questions on it, just let Yolanda know, and we'll help you out.
But if we could schedule those dates as soon as possible, so that
June
there's enough
3rd.
time to, you know, continue to schedule
So
around.
June 3rd is solid,
Mhm.
and the 2nd and June 10th is solid.
June 10th, okay.
Okay.
All right, there's two gentlemen here that I'd like to recognize. So for the past 2 years, Mr. Alan Weiss, if you can stand up, and Aaron Weiss. So I invited both of these gentlemen to come to our board meeting this evening. Our relationship professionally goes back, I think, about 10 years, roughly 10 years. 2010 is when I started in that. BC. And their job in that district was the Tri-Community Photo Center, which was internationally known. They had awards that they'd received and participated in competitions throughout the world, including China, Europe, and so on. They were gracious enough to help me help with the communication, outreach, public relations in that district. And then at Rim of the World, they worked with me there as consultants. And I've been fortunate enough to have them help me out here with the business cards that you've seen, the business cards that we gave to all of our teachers, the pictures that you see on the wall there, our letterhead, our social media. They helped us redo the website. We didn't have existing social media when I started here, and they helped us get going with all of that. The Larry Layton dedication, they designed that piece for us that you recently saw, and we did put that up last weekend. The recruitment fair booth, and much of the work at pro bono, just because of our relationship. They don't charge for mileage, they don't charge for phone consultation. You're both just very giving gentlemen, and I wanted the board to meet you and thank you for everything you've done to help us with our district and marketing.
Thank you.
As we continue celebrating, I want to mention Alyssa Heeb. You have been just a treasure to work with this year. You're one of the most responsible student board members I think I've ever seen. Even when you're not here, you make a YouTube video or a video and send it to me via text so that we can post it up here and share it. And you even have your friends included in on it so that they can help share the message of the week. And you've just been, I want to say consummate professional, because you really have. You're a professional student. And you helped out, as you were acknowledged the other day, at the Women's Club Award for your work on even helping messaging with the bond. So when we went through the bond campaign, you did all those visits with us in the evening with Kyler Kofer, and we want to acknowledge you for all of that. So we're going to have you come up front here. We have an award for you. What we're talking about is Alyssa's helping us organize so that I mentioned that bulletin board that we over here for Oh the Places You'll Go. So Yolanda ordered an Oh the Places You'll Go backdrop for the photo op, and then each senior will take their picture in front of that, and then maybe they're going to wear shirts of where they're going to. Is that the idea, Alyssa?
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for all your help with that too.
Yeah, of course. The students liked it. Yeah, I kind of told them about it. Like, oh, that's so cool. We want to take a picture in front of that. So either they're gonna bring it down to the gym and take photos tonight, or they'll take photos of Grand Walk. So we're good.
Perfect.
Thank you.
And thank you for reminding me of that too. The senior walk will be the 28th Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have video of that for the board to share at a later board meeting, but we're excited about that. And I do understand that the 8th grade will not be there for the walk, but we know you're there in spirit, and we will be sure that you see the video. And I know that you all did a tremendous job making things for the students, as I understand it, and having music and so on. So we look forward to seeing what you have prepared for us. So thank you, Ms. Van Orn. And I know some of your students that are getting ready to do some of the video and so on. So the last piece is we have a video for you on every 15 minutes. So it's not an entirely feel-good video, but an extremely important topic that the students did an amazing job on. So this is really about our students.
when I needed you the most, when Evan needed you the most, you let us down, and you failed us.
But Tyler, you have the power to make the choices right and right, and obviously make the wrong one.
And we were your best friends. And for Evan, he's not even here for you to apologize. You never get to see him, talk to him again.
It really brought that context, you know, because so often as teenagers we want to make adult decisions, and we're not always prepared for the adult consequences. So it was really unique to see, you know.
My experience was good. I mean, you learn how valuable your friends are, how valuable your life is. I mean, it's crazy that 10 seconds of your life can change, you know, from when being alive and not being alive.
So I do want to thank our MTV folks, and Mr. Anderson, if you can pass along to Alyssa and Jolene how much we appreciate what they did to put that together. I know there was some time constraints there, and not easy to make that, especially at the end of the school year, the timeline, but we really appreciate it. And I've been to several of the every 15-minute events, and this is probably one of the most authentic ones I've ever seen simulated. But I know when my wife got the visit from the police officer, they did it while she was teaching, and they told her that, you know, your daughter Brittany passed away, and then Timmy had to call me up on the phone, and it is heart-wrenching, even though you know it's a simulation. It doesn't feel like one when, you know, police are saying your daughter's name. So I know that those students, when you saw their heartfelt responses, to be there and watch them at the side of the road, there wasn't a peep from any student. They were just fixated on that accident. And if nothing else, I can't imagine anything having a more impactful or more of an impact than that would. So I agree with what Kyler Kofer said in the video. It really does put it into context. And I thank ASB, I thank you, Mr. Anderson, the students and the staff that did a great job of putting all this together. So thank you. That concludes my comments for superintendent comments.
8.7, any submissions this week?
There are no submissions.
Mike, I have a question. I'm trying to keep track here of the submissions. It seems to me that there was a charter that had submitted their petition several times going back into the fall, submitted it, made updates, and I understand that's all part of it. And then there was another one that made a submission, but it seems to me that there are two charters that have not returned.
Yes, the charters have removed their, withdrawn their petitions.
Okay, so that's something that they initiated?
Yes.
And that would be
Inspire.
and Valiant?
And also Scale Leadership. early
Okay,
on.
so if those were to come back on the menu, we would see that on the future agenda
Yes.
and report. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to board member comments and just work down the road, if that's all right. You want to start?
Start with me. So I want to compliment Mr. Anders and ASB for the hard work on 15 minutes too. They asked me to participate, which I enjoyed doing, but it's always a challenge. And that's something that's really important for a small school, that we can go the extra mile to make sure that the students have a realistic impact. All the years working on my dad's ambulance, I'm in many of those accidents with kids, and it's just something that's really impactful, and it's something that Vasquez has done really a good job with over the years, and this was another one. Thank you, Mr. Anders, and make sure the ASB. Let's see, going on, get to the end of the year, I went to the awards banquet at the high school. Well done, and again, to my, not surprised, but my good feeling is that the students earned a lot of significant events where they had multiple awards for academic excellence and awards from our local communities, the Acton Women's Club, the AADUSD Women's Club, the Lions Club, and it just goes on, and it's really gratifying. That's another thing that small schools and small communities can do for their students. They don't get lost in the picture. We're a small school, but we have some of the best students that are going to some really nice universities, having some continuing education opportunities. And I want to thank the Acton Women's Club, AADUSD Lions Club, the Rusty Studs, all working their tails off to make sure our students have opportunities. Again, congratulations to Austin Pender. No surprise to me when I had her in my class as a freshman, she was a standout. And every year there, she was a standout. So it was like, I know it gets close because I'm sure that it's a tough gig for Mr. Anders to figure out who's it going to be, because they're 1/10, 2/10. They're just some high achieving students that we have in this community, and they're to be congratulated. Again, I'm looking forward to Austin's speech on graduation day. It'll be really a great thing. We're coming to the end of the year, and I've only been on the board for a short time, but it's the end of a school year. It's going to be a little bit heart-wrenching for me because I'm going to be on the other side. Rather than thanking my students going out the door, I'll be on there congratulating them on the stage for their hard work, and so I'll be able to see a lot of students that I had in my classroom again. Some exceptional students. Alyssa Heeb was one of them. Let's see, moving on, I got my notes here real quickly. The student representative, Alyssa, it's been great. No surprise to me, some excellent job you've done. I mean, from being that boisterous, get things done in my class, on the field, on the court, on campus. So it was really a pleasure to have you in the short term that I was here as well. And then lastly, I want to congratulate all our staff and the teachers and along with the students, but there's a lot to be done at the end of the year. There's tons of things that happen at AP testing and getting all the done, transcripts, college applications through the counseling office, and I know it's a tough gig. And I want to thank all our administrators for working with staff, all the staff that's out here, the classified, everybody pulling together at the end of the year to make sure our students are ready to move on to the new site or the class within their own campus, and making sure that they're going on, particularly Mr. Anders, to our high school, that they're going out to some very fine institutions, and they're prepared to go out into the community, and I thank all our staff for that. And with that, that's all I have.
Alyssa, I am aware of your career aspirations, and I'm proud to say I work for the finest municipality in the United States. I have a good, as a program manager there, I have a good understanding of what staff reports look like. There's been some good student reps in the past. They each had their strength, but I can see that you have the strength to accomplish what you're headed into, because I look over your staff reports, and you have to remember, we're up here not to be educational experts. We're up here to represent, as lay people, the community. We each have our own individual thing. But you want to remember that we're only as good as the information that's given us, and I find that your reports are always prioritized, they're significant, they're brief, they give me the details I need to understand what's going on in the campuses, and I think that you recognize that you represented a whole organization, not just a high school, because I find that you would include things about the smallest kids in the district all the way up. I know you're gonna have a brilliant career wherever you go. I wish you well. And public service is really about, I hope someday when you're struggling to write a report that the people above you are giving you changes every 5 minutes, that you turn back to these and remember what was really important. So, where's my glasses? I gotta stay on track now for this stuff. The Night of the Stars, incredible. The Agua Dulce Women's Club luncheon, incredible. The Acton Women's Club evening luncheon, incredible. The Meadowlark back to school. I went through every classroom and took a look at something that I thought was significant to capture what in those pictures, I think is the work that every kid in our school there, one of their projects was there. And I was looking at all this, and I was looking at how the classrooms are arranged, and I'm picking up on things like how learning takes place. If you're sitting there fidgeting with a fidget spinner or something like that, there's supposed to be something on the wall and textures and numbers and things. And I'm going through the classrooms and I'm seeing things really arranged. I didn't see messy classrooms. I didn't see broken things. I saw teachers engage with parents. And the conversations were meaningful about the student, because I think if everyone realizes we're not here to make a kid into what we want them to be, we're there to help them find their passion, and that's what makes them an individual, and that's what makes them successful adults. So I like to see that kind of stuff on social media. Now to Mr. Costan's gift bag. Tom, I'll say this to you. I want to thank you for approaching the board. I want to thank you for being calm and having candor. When I was out there, there were times that I felt like I just wanted to do something a little different and be a little bit boisterous, but I always found that maintaining your emotions is a good thing, so I can appreciate that. I want to let you know, without discussing this, I'm actually probably the most knowledgeable person around here about parasitic plants, and I'd never, in my profession, I'd never really seen a description like that, so it was very informative to some extent. I do want to let you know, not to dismiss anything, but I understand the sensitivities that you have, and especially the other members of the Acton Town Council, because it's really important that you have a pulse on how this community is represented in the greater region. I know that in my time on the board, we've kind of put some things on the agenda and got everybody headed the right way, and I don't think that everybody understands that the town councils here are advisory commissions, and that the county is up here looking at the bigger thing, and I want this and I want this, and sometimes what we want that preserves the uniqueness of our community and what our goals are and the things that we're proud of and that we want represented out there. We have a sensitivity to that, and I think there's a track record of the school district and the town councils working together to influence the county in a positive way. And I want you to know that I value that relationship very much, and I think that it's important how we're viewed in the region, not only amongst our constituents, but I think in the bigger picture. People want to know at that level that they're coming in to deal with people that are going to hit the issues that are objective and that we can put out there, whether it's about a train or something else, and we're not off in the weeds embarrassing each other. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to tell Alyssa, thank you so much. I can't wait to see what you're gonna do with your future. You have a bright future ahead of you, and I'm excited to see what you're gonna be doing out there. So please keep in touch, because you're a great member of our community, and we're so proud of you. Some great things have happened the last couple weeks. ASMA, what a great organization, what a great job they did. I want our community to understand music left many classrooms with budget cuts a few years ago, and with, all about reading. That's the most important thing, which reading is not, I'm not saying it's not important, but so are the arts. So I want our community to really appreciate what we have here. To have a live band at your little concert is quite, it's just a great thing to have. So I just want everyone to know how much I appreciate it, and I love that. Night of the Stars down, how many men can pull off a beautiful purple suit? That was great. And all of the awards that our students got, that was fantastic. Our community has so much to be proud of, and I look at our kids and what a great experience I had. Where were we? I think we were at the AADUSD Women's Club, and we had a former student who's a sheriff speak, saying it's one of the best experiences he's ever had, and he would never change going to Vasquez High School. And I did express, my kids are older now, but they will tell you the same thing. My kids will tell you, look back, and they all have children now, and they will say the best experience was Vasquez High School. So I hope you look back at Vasquez and remember that as well. They love that small town atmosphere, and they loved their community, and they loved their school. So a lot to be proud of. AADUSD Women's Club, great event. They gave some awards to our students and recognized I lead as well, so that was fantastic. And I wasn't able to attend the Acton Women's Club, but I want to thank them as well. CCAP, one of our students getting scholarships. There's just so much going on right now. I don't want to make too many comments about things that are said, but I would just like everyone to remember that that teachers are the main thing when it comes to education, that they're the people that are teaching our children every day. So I don't take that profession lightly, and I would like our teachers to know how much I appreciate them. If you're not a teacher and you haven't done it, there's a lot that goes into it, more than, I remember when I was first going to the profession, I thought, oh, this is going to be great. 8 to 3, summer's off. And what you quickly find out is 8 to 3 is when you have the kids, but you really work 24/7. So it's a very hard profession, and I don't take comments about our teachers in a negative way very, very lightly. They're very important to our children and to our community. Without that, we can do without our classified staff as well. Our classified staff do a lot of things behind the scenes, and they don't get the recognition that they deserve also, but we're celebrating our classified staff in my district this week, and so I'd like to tell our classified staff how much I appreciate them as well. And also our administrators, because you are doing so many things out there. Award ceremonies, report cards, graduation ceremonies, all the open house, all the things that you have to do, and we really appreciate you opening up your school and spending all these long hours doing all these things for our community and for our students. So with that, I will not be attending any events next week because I am a grandmother again as of today, number 8. So I will be leaving tomorrow and taking time off work, and I'm going to set my email that says call someone else if it's important, so that I can just be being a grandmother. So I will miss that. My daughter-in-law that just had a baby, she is also a teacher, and she planned her pregnancy perfect for the last day of school. Unfortunately, she didn't match it to my calendar, but so I will be doing that. So I will be missing all the events. I'm going to be really sad. I did attend my first graduation as a board member last year, and I loved it. So I'm very sad I'm going to miss that. But enjoy your summer, and thank you to all our teachers as we're starting to wind down, and all our administrators. So hang in there, we're almost to the end. So thank you for all you do.
I just want to say I was extremely disappointed with what I saw, and I can't express. I think you captured it pretty well for me as well, and I hope we can move past that and do better in the future. I would like to thank the clubs in town that really, the civic clubs that do so much for our students. If you're at Night of the Stars, you'd be aware of all the efforts they do, and it's showered upon our students. So the Acton's Women's Club, the AADUSD Women's Club, the Rusty Studs, the Lions Club, the Margaret Spry honorary scholarship. There's so much support for the kids here, and it comes out of these clubs. It's in direct grants to the schools that maybe people don't know that schools get grants, as well as scholarships to students. So thank you for whoever's out there who also participates that way. Alyssa, congratulations. It's been a real pleasure. You have done a fantastic job. You're extraordinarily articulate, and that will help you tremendously in whatever profession you choose.
Caroline will do just as well.
Well, I don't know that. I
She'll
think
be awesome. Caroline Fox, by the way, is the new board representative who's not.
she didn't tell me that. She
She
said
didn't?
she was applying.
Oh, well, she got it.
Oh. I'm not just saying because maybe she doesn't know.
You'll have to
She
sit
knows,
down
she
there,
knows.
Mike, you don't get to
We
sit down
hate
there.
learning things off the street. Larry will have to see you.
Well, she knows, so I blame her.
I've sat on the board for 3 of my kids going through Vasquez, and she's the only one that's had the desire. And so I'm glad that apparently, if your reporting is correct, she'll get a chance. But good job. Thank you. For the communication consultants, thank you very much. It's beautiful what you've done, and you've done it without impacting our budget in any material way. And the value's tremendous. I mean,
You didn't tell us you had a budget.
that's my point. But really, you guys are extraordinarily creative, and you've done a beautiful job.
Yes.
Okay, the folders that you guys did for the recruitment was the most beautiful folders I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of folders. I'm an educator. That's amazing. So thank you.
You guys are really good. Thank you very much for helping us in that way. It changes the tone when you're in the boardroom and that's up, or you're on the campuses. It does change the tone, and to be able to do so cost effectively and so beautifully, we appreciate that. Thank you. And then for the students and their families and their staff, and our staff, happy summer. Be safe, enjoy your time off, and we'll come back and do it again next year. That's all I have. And so that concludes board member comments. Let's move on to the consent agenda. If I can get a motion to move in the consent agenda, which includes items 9.1 through 9.7.
I'll move in.
Second.
Okay. Superintendent, any particular discussion on the consent agenda?
The only thing I'll bring forward, other than if you have any questions, is under the personnel action report, some nice hires there. So I just want to commend Mr. Andrus and Dr. Cooper and Lucy Tall on doing that in an expedited manner. Football was a concern. We've got our head coach now, and you're ratifying this. And I think I spoke with you about that because we wanted to get our coach out there as soon as possible. So we onboarded the coach and processed him, and he's already gotten to know students and staff and working with Mr. Andrus, so that's great. And then you'll see on there that you're approving tonight Eric Cabrelos, who is our new physical education and health science teacher, credentialed in both, and we're excited to have him on board as well. So I've been thankfully getting to meet some really nice hires in the Tier 2 part of our interview process, so appreciate staff's work on that.
All right. Call to question?
One thing,
Oh,
Mike.
sorry.
On 907, I'm gonna have to abstain because I'm a part-time faculty lecturer for Cal State Bakersfield.
Okay, so let's then, I will move 9.7 out of the consent agenda. That way you can vote on the remainder of it. So we'll vote on 9.7 separately. So Call to question regarding approval of items 9.1 through 9.6.
Aye.
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 Okay. And now, separately, can I have a motion to move in 9.7?
I'll move.
Second.
Okay, and you can just abstain on this one?
Yes.
All right. Call to question on 9.7.
Aye.
Okay, that's a 3-1-1, where the abstention is Mr. Jorgensen. All right. Okay, this is a fairly short meeting. We're up to 10.1, future agenda items. Mr. King?
So, yeah, just a couple of things there. So, Ms. David and I have been discussing potential consultants to work with us on a bond. And I'm going to meet with a consulting firm called ISOM on June 20th. So that on June 27th, potentially, either that firm or another consulting group we can bring to the board for you to meet. But we're kind of going through a vetting out / interview process to bring somebody forward to the board. We'll still be working with Caldwell Floors and Winters. They will be the advising council with regard to the hardship application for the bond work that was not approved or didn't pass recently. So we still have monies that will be conceivably accessible once legislation action is taken to approve those in March 2020.
There'll be they believe there's going to be another bond proposal on the, not District 1, but at the state level, which will make available more funding.
Right.
But it'll put us in line for that if it's approved.
For the hardship, and then separately, potentially with a different consulting group to work on additional funds. So we'll be bringing that hopefully forward to June 27th. The Apple Award Volunteer of the Year, we're bringing that forward on June 13th. Can we say who that is? Or are we waiting? Is it a surprise?
I think you're supposed to say that at the meeting, right?
Yeah, at the meeting. Okay, so I will not share that tonight, but we will share that at the meeting. So that's a reason for everybody to come on June 13th, and we will let you know who that is. But we're very excited. It's somebody who's very well deserving and does a tremendous amount of work for the school district. So in terms of the LCAP and the budget, the hearings will be on June 13th, and then you'll adopt the LCAP and the budget for the 1920 school year on June 27th. And the consolidated application will be June 27th as well? Okay. So that's it for the future agenda items.
Comment?
Okay, go ahead.
When it comes to the LCAP public hearing, just so staff knows, I'll have some questions about the ELD rollout and what EL supports look like for next year. When it comes to the budget public hearing, we're gonna really wanna dig in on the effects of the fluctuations that's happening with legislation, with the charters. I'm gonna be wanting to understand a little bit more, not so much about the reasons why, but what the number fluctuations look like in the market trend. If you can give me any idea of why I'm seeing numbers growing in some, but in others, it seems at certain times of the year, the numbers shoot through the roof suddenly. I don't know whether there's things collapsing over here and the students are migrating from one to another. But I need to understand that because I think it affects our projections long term. And I'll have a few questions about, we went through a facilities maintenance plan and what that looks like and how that's going to inform the budget and potentially a bond effort. So thank you.
A quick question. What is a consolidated application? I'm just curious. Not,
Do you wanna share?
without, just since it's on for the public also on June 27th.
We bring it every year. It's a required element for federal funding. For all of our federal programs, we need to bring it. We have to determine if we want to accept the funding for such as Title I for at-risk students. So we just have to bring it to you for approval that we're going to accept the funding.
All right. I hadn't heard it called that before.
Hey, I have something on that. Can you tell us as part of your budget stuff if there's rollovers and what they are and what their intended focus is, so we don't, like, for example, if we have something in Title I, that we have some plan in place at the sites to move that forward, so we're not just giving money back in areas where we really need it. Cool, thank you.
Is that it for fusion then, Jen? Okay, 11.1 calendar, and I think you heard June is a busy month for us, and then are we off July?
Correct, we're dark in July.
So, June's a busy month, even though it's nice kind of light, it's kind of nice. All right, item 12, did you have anything you wanted to add? Oh, item 12, closed session. We did take action in closed session. We approved a district recommendation regarding a student matter, prior student of our district. We approved that recommendation on a 3-1-1 vote. We have one absence tonight and one abstention. And that's that. The abstention, you want to know who the abstention was?
No.
Okay.
That it was them.
Adjournment. So we're on to item 13. Time of adjournment is 8:31. Somebody want to make a motion to adjourn? Tim?
Second.
Okay. Call the question?
Aye.
Okay. Happy summer, everybody.